Welcome to another episode of the One-on-One podcast. I am Josh. I am joined by Ryan Esteban, who's sitting to my left, and Kathy Baker, who I'm staring at on this big, giant, beautiful television, who I wish was in person with us.
It's the usual suspects.
It is the usual suspects. Good shout. Ryan and I were, I don't know if you guys have seen, like, I can't get too far into this. Ryan and I were just talking about the movie The Usual Suspects, and that's the first time I'd ever seen it, and I loved it. So good shout, Ryan.
Nice.
We have a really cool guest today. Kathy, I know you're excited. Before we get into that, I have a question for the three of us and our guest, who I'll introduce in a second. I don't know that I've asked this one before. This is definitely a Josh question. What is your ideal food and drink combination? Preferably alcoholic, but if you don't drink alcohol, I know Kathy and Ryan do, so that's why I'm asking that question. What would you guys say? And I'm talking like it can be like beer and pizza or steak and a glass of red wine. Like, what do you? It's a good one.
Can I just tell you the way that started out? I'm totally relieved that it went to food. Okay. I'm gonna say bourbon and blue cheese.
Oh, I knew bourbon was the first part. Like I knew that about you, but blue cheese, that's interesting.
Oh yeah.
Can you explain that one a little further?
I don't know. And I think I think the older you get, and I'd love some shout outs from anybody, any of our viewers. I think the older you get, there are a couple of things you really appreciate, like dark chocolate.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Blue cheese, bourbon. I don't know. Like I just love like blue cheese on a pear.
So like you could do like a nice glass of bourbon with just like a nice charcuterie board in front of you, and you're just kind of picking at it. Yeah, that sounds nice. Yeah. That's good. Ryan, what about you?
I don't want to go something that's typical. All right, so we actually just talked about this too. So I like a Japanese highball.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just like whiskey and like club soda, something very light, but like. What we used to do in college, especially, is like an izakaya. So it's like grilled meats. It's like drunk food. Like you're just hanging with friends. It's like snack food, something like that.
That's a good one. That's a really good one. I like that. Mine is, mine's pretty easy. Mine's like a perfectly cooked ribeye and a very smoky peaty scotch. That's definitely my dream. Okay, I want to ask our guest this question before we get into his expertise, but we do have Justin Taylor, who is the founder of BLUPRINT, which is a brand new education and training platform that we are so excited to have partnering with Realty ONE Group. Many of you may know Justin. He's a familiar face and voice with this organization. So before we pick his brain about all of that stuff, Justin, what is your dream? Not dream, because we've obviously all had this, but what is your ideal food and drink combo?
My go-to. So I have to, it's interesting because I'm going to go with Kathy on bourbon or whiskey. I really don't discriminate. And probably steak, probably a filet. And Kathy, definitely blue cheese on the steak.
Yeah. That's interesting. Kathy, I want to try it. I'm going to try it. I'll text you.
Okay.
Isn't it interesting though? I think what Kathy's point was is as you get older, your taste buds kind of change. Like when I was a kid, hated dark chocolate, right? It's just so bitter. Same. Hated any type of like blue cheese, feta, anything like that. But I just, as I've gotten older, it's like amazing.
Yep. I agree. I completely agree.
We're just refined individuals.
We really are. I mean, those were all really good answers. I mean, Ryan literally said he drinks a Japanese highball. And on the previous episode, he was in Japan.
Yeah.
Very sophisticated.
Yeah. All right, Kathy, let's kick this off. I mean, we obviously know why, but why did we bring Justin onto this podcast today?
I just want him to introduce himself, and just our network already knows him. He's packed the room at Summit multiple times, and just his passion, his expertise, and his love of the brand.
Yeah.
And we're glad that he's taken such a courageous step to step into coaching, open his own company. Justin, talk a little bit about that, because these are times that a lot of people aren't being courageous, and a lot of people are playing small. And we're just excited not only that you've taken that step to play big, but that you've taken that step to play big with us.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, gosh, what I've been talking to people over the last week or so is just, it's a leap of faith, right? Sometimes we always tell ourselves like, when is the perfect time? What is going to be the perfect time? And I don't know if there ever is or going to be the perfect time where we feel like we should take that leap of faith. We just got to do it when it feels right. And, just to give some backstory, like over the last, I've been training and coaching now for probably 13 years. So over, BLUPRINT, as we launch this in the coming weeks and next month, is a culmination of that 13 years. Before I got into real estate, I was in retail, worked my way up, did a lot of corporate training, some turnaround projects, which, looking back, it was some of the stepping stones into where I am today. And then back in 2016, retail wasn't forever for me. That wasn't the end game. And I've always been interested in real estate. So I got my license, jumped in, went to Realty ONE Group. Obviously the branding, I'm a huge fan of just the organization. So it was natural. And I started doing trainings for some of our offices here in Arizona. And it just snowballed from there. And then, jumped over to Tidal, launched a platform there as well for training development. And then, going back to timing, it just feels right. This is the time for me to step out of my comfort zone at a level and drive my passion into a greater audience, a larger audience. Like you said, Kathy, I'm just so passionate about a few weeks ago, we talked about aha moments. And that is something that I have really leaned into over the last few years in terms of when I'm working with agents or at a training or coaching, and all of a sudden that light bulb goes off. That's what drives me. That's what gets me up in the morning, be able to take my knowledge and just find ways to make it easier for our agents to be able to implement things that they probably know they should be doing in their business, but giving that extra push and just breaking it down in a way that's digestible. Because as we know, there's a lot in this business that we have to do as agents. So, that's kind of where my passion's coming from.
It's the time of year that we're doing business planning. And Josh and Ryan, I have to say, I would believe that there are a lot of realtors right now, a lot of our viewers are standing on that edge thinking, this year's been tough. And do I take that leap of faith and take my business to the next level? Or what do I do? What do you think, Justin, as a coach and a trainer, what do you think are some of the key ingredients in this market that professionals are going to need to continue that walk, continue that journey to success?
I think the agents that are still finding success or any agent that can kind of turn it around and get the trajectory going up a little bit is time blocking. And I know that's just I know for me personally, when I started to adopt time blocking and calendaring and doing all that stuff, it helped tremendously. And when you're time blocking, right, it's all about prospecting and following up and all that stuff. So if you're disciplined enough, you're getting yourself in the habit to do that, you're going to be every day, those small wins, you're 2 hours a day making phone calls, an hour, whatever it is, 30 minutes, just start the process and increase it from there. You're going to start to build that habit in there and it just becomes part of your business. It becomes part of your day to day. But I truly feel like this is the time, anytime there's a down market or, a blip in someone's business or whatever it may be, you really have to buckle down on your time blocking and set the groundwork now, because I anticipate 2025 and 2026 to be busier years. A lot of people are thinking that. So set the groundwork now so that when the business does pick up, you're not the agent that's struggling to keep up with everyone else that's super busy. Anytime there's downtime, you should be planning for the future. You should be setting the foundation, fine-tuning your processes, check your technology, your CRM, tightening up your data, all that stuff. Because again, once the market picks up again and we get busy, you're not necessarily going to have time to do that TLC work in your business. And you'll be ahead of the game already before the other agents.
So let me ask you a very specific question between, when this episode gets published between now and the end of the year, give me what should an agent be doing in this sort of shifting market? I know we keep using that, but
yeah, no, for sure. Immediately, I always go to database.
Okay.
I mean, it might be a broken record, but in my opinion and what I have seen, your CRM and your database is the lifeblood of your business long term, right? And Kathy, you can talk on this too, but even your end game. What is your end game? What is your exit strategy? You have to think of yourself as like a Target or a huge business. What do? They have their database solid, right? We all get emails from these companies every day, all day long. And that's why it's so important, is because you want to make sure that you stay in touch with your people. You want to have accurate data. The amount of agents that I meet with and I understand it, I have empathy for it, but I need to get my database taken care of. And I'm like, well, who's in there? Is the past 2 years a business that you closed in there? 3 years, 4 years, right? Start with 2 years and then go to the next year.
Yeah.
Database is just huge. You should definitely make sure that's tightened up. And then obviously that goes hand in hand with your communication, sending out emails, keeping in touch, that kind of thing there. But the other big piece is your online presence. Huge. Your online presence. Google business profiles, your website. Have you changed websites? Are all your links accurate, right? I always encourage agents at least once a quarter, you should be doing an online presence audit. Google yourself, right? What profiles are coming up? Have you gotten new headshots? Do you need to add new photos? Did your phone number change? Your website, your social profiles, all that kind of stuff. You want to make sure that is consistent across the board so that you can rank higher. And at the end of the day, when business picks up, people are going to research you, right? They're going to start clicking different things. And if it's not updated or you haven't had a new review in the last, let's say 30 days, because data tells us that consumers focus on the last 30 days of reviews typically. So if you haven't had a new review in the last 30 days, I highly recommend you go in and ask for a couple of those as well. But I really, to give two big things, I would definitely say database, because you have to have a solid foundation on who you're going to be reaching out to, who you're going to be prospecting to, and that communication. But the other big piece is that online presence.
Yeah. And to your point, you want to be found online. And if this industry is going to really pick up in 2025 and 2026, you want to have that foundation already built by the time that it gets picked up.
Absolutely. Yeah. You don't want to be the agent that's all of a sudden, I go back to 2020. I don't want to give anybody PTSD, but in the beginning, we didn't know what was going to happen. We thought our business was going to be just go in the tank, and quite the opposite happened. I mean, for me, it was my busiest year ever, and going into 2021. But you don't want to be the agent that's struggling to try to, all of a sudden you're busy with clients, and then you're trying to balance also managing and working on your business. And struggling to get that all updated.
Are there any? I mean, you can maybe give a shout out to a couple of the tools that we have maybe in Zone, or if there's any new AI that you can talk about. Are there digital tools that our network can use now? And we don't need to get too into the weeds, but maybe that can help them with, the Google My Business, building a website, building an online social presence. I mean, I know that there's now AI tools where you can have your headshot done. I mean, the options are endless at this point.
It's pretty phenomenal where we've gone. But yeah, I mean, on the Realty ONE Group side, I'm a huge fan of OneSuite. It is. I want more agents to take advantage of it. Yeah. Right. It's one of the tools that are in our toolbox. It doesn't cost you anything additional. I always encourage agents when I do OneSuite trainings, if you're currently paying for a website or a CRM, just test it out. Add yourself into the OneSuite CRM, play around with the website editing, make it your own, customize it. But why pay for something additional when those funds could be used towards, I don't know, maybe client appreciation or other marketing efforts for your business? So OneSuite would definitely be a big one. I love the One app. I mean, that was gold for me in open houses for that. I didn't have people sign into an open house sheet or anything like that. I had an iPad, you can use your phone. And I asked them, how are you finding homes? Oh, Zillow, right? All those different places, sources. And I said, well, here, let's take a look. There's 3 others around the same area. Let's see if it fits. Basically demoing the app for them. And they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Yep. And say, here, I'll text it to you, right? And boom, I know I'm getting their phone number because I'm helping them download it on their phone. Right. Obviously, I'm getting their name somewhere in there. Oh, I'm Justin, by the way, right? You're getting that contact info. And then I'm following up with them later on. I'm a huge believer in value first and then going for your ask. Move with value first and then going for your ask. I didn't have one person, dozens of open houses, not one person tell me no to download it. So huge.
But I think it's you have the right combination of you are using the right tools, and then you obviously have the right experience and personality, and you put this all together, and it's a successful package at that point.
Yeah, it worked. It was smooth. And again, like you said, you have to be comfortable with it too, right? I'm all about pushing people out of their comfort zone, but baby steps. I want them to at least try it. So if you make it your own, or you're still like having them sign in on the sheet and you're still, demoing the app or something, you got to find what works for you. But I definitely would encourage leveraging the One app in that sense, because it was pretty powerful for me.
What I love about that, one of my favorite books is James Clear's Atomic Habits. And you're reminding me of his reference to taking those small steps, those, the size of an atom, and that you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your habits and your systems. And so I think as we look into a new year, it's really important. We say all the time, Josh and Ryan and I, real estate is simple. It's not easy. Right. It's simple if you practice and if you have and establish habits that are going to put you in front of people. I read a report today, and where that online presence and that consistency and not having a glamour shot, but having a real focus. The average buyer, I want you guys to listen to this, is 58 years old. So the majority, the greatest number of buyers are in that range of 58 years old. The first-time buyer in the past 10 years has increased to 38 years old.
Wow.
You say that one more time. I'm sorry, Kathy.
The first-time buyer is now 38 years old,
Got it.
which is a significant increase over the past 10 years.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is appreciation of home value, right? But when you think about that, I want you to think about what Justin said, in that staying front and center. And you do that through digital. You do that through a lot of different ways, but making sure that you have a platform that you can consistently put yourself in front of people for now a long period of time.
Yeah. I mean, it's Ryan and I have talked about this. We're obviously, I know we always say, Ryan, we're on the creative side of the real estate sort of things, but so I always try to compare it to other areas of life. And so let's say you're going out to find a new restaurant on a Friday night, and you just Google it, and you go to Google, and that restaurant doesn't have a website. They don't have their hours on there. They don't have a menu. They don't have reviews. They don't have whatever. Are you going to go to that restaurant?
No.
I mean, and I know I don't know that my parents would necessarily say the same thing as me, but I do think that that's the majority of how consumers operate. And I think that that's just something that agents then need to think about. If I Google Ryan Esteban, real estate professional from San Diego, California, and all of his information does not pop up immediately, he's kind of dead in the water at that point. Am I right there in saying that?
Yeah, no, I would agree 100%. I mean, it's just like it's reviews as well. I'm going to go to this because we're just a heavy review society, and we can kind of thank Amazon for that.
Yeah, totally.
Right. So you're going to order, I was teaching about Google business profiles today, and, would you order a 5-star product? Yes. Would you order a 4-star product? Yeah, I would. Now, when you start to get into 3s, that's where you start to dive a little bit deeper into those reviews and photos, and you're diving a little bit deeper. But we use those as part of our decision-making process. It's just like your Google business profile. If you're not updating with posts, or even your Facebook, right? You're not staying in front of people. They don't think you're active. You haven't had a new review in 2 years. They don't think you're active, and they're probably going to move on to another agent that maybe posts a little bit more regularly, or just has incorporated time blocking to know, okay, I'm posting 3 times a week, or even 1 time a week on my Google business profile or social media, whatever it is. Yeah. And what I think is powerful with those platforms is they're free.
Yeah.
They're all free. And
they're the most lucrative tools if they're used correctly.
Exactly. Yeah. You're getting a chance to get somebody's attention and stay in front of them. Again, it's free. I say free, but it's your time of investment,
Sure.
right? It's you're investing your time into it. But again, going back to traditional thinking, TV ads, billboards work for certain industries, still work for real estate in certain instances, but very expensive. But we have all these different free platforms. YouTube.
Yeah.
Right? Video content. 51% of home buyers choose YouTube as their number one research platform.
Did you hear that, Brian? That's wild. Like
That's
actually a whole different world that we could spend a whole episode just talking about YouTube content in general.
I am beyond passionate about video marketing and getting agents to adapt it more in their business, because it's transformative and it's just powerful.
I think we need you to come back, and I think we need to dedicate an entire episode to video.
I agree. I think we're going to bring Justin back, because I think we've only just scratched the surface. Justin, we want to, before we end this episode, we want to get your perspective on obviously our next summit, which is happening in Miami, Florida in November of 2025. But also you have done a lot of our breakout sessions in previous summits, and you pack the house every single time. I'd love to hear not only what our attendees are going to get from seeing you speak, but also the entire event itself. And then also just I want to know your perspective, what you think as you're walking around the event for those 3 days.
Yeah, look here. I've had the opportunity to speak the last 2 years. Phenomenal. And I've been with Realty ONE Group, I think, since 2016 now. But Summit, if you haven't been to Summit yet, it's extremely hard to describe other than life-changing.
Yeah.
Truly, for the agent. Yes, it's a fun time. There's a lot of cool things that are happening, but it is always packed with great speakers. And in addition to great speakers, the breakout sessions, right? You're leaving with strategies, tactical things that you can take and implement into your business. And what I love about that combination is you're getting the motivation, you're getting hyped up, you're being reminded of why you got into this business and why you're doing what you're doing. But then you're taking the meat and potatoes is you're taking strategies, whether it's technology or different skills, and being able to implement to your business as an agent or your franchise, and be able to get that to your agent. So there's a lot to take away. Again, if you haven't gone yet, it's worth the time. It's worth the money. Get there. Miami's going to be
insane.
Amazing, insane. It's going to be wild. And, in terms of me speaking, I've done video marketing for the last couple of years. Again, it's something I'm huge and passionate about, but I always try to break down my sessions with easy things that are digestible that the agent can quickly implement into their business.
Totally.
Because what I see a lot, and we've all been there, is, including myself, going to events and, taking in the information, but not taking action on it. Right? It's not as powerful as we just keep it in our head. We got to actually bring it to reality and put action to it. And that's, I think, the powerful part of it. So I'm excited for it.
I love Josh, that. What Justin, he's so modest. He is probably the master of actionable training, where you can walk away and put something into action immediately. And I think when you combine that with the mindset experience, the positive experience, the referral opportunity of an event like Summit, it's just a win.
It's the perfect recipe for an extraordinary many years to come is how I think of it.
I couldn't have said it better myself. Justin, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. We're excited to have you at Summit. I'm excited to meet you in person. This has been great. So, and we'd love to have you back. Well, I think we can get more focused, and I think we could do easily 25 minutes on video marketing or 100 other topics. So we'll definitely have you back.
I'm down. I appreciate you guys so much. I really do.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for joining us for another episode of the One-on-One Podcast, powered by Realty ONE Group. For more information, questions, or concerns, please reach out to coaching@realtyonegroup.com.